Hello everyone, I'm Joohui Son. I'm working as an architect based on Seoul, Korea. I'm a professor in Hanyang University. As a designer, you have to finding some interesting facts that no one can do it, but you can do things. To find that, I think you have to challenge many things, be confident, and then do some experimental things, what you like. That is your life property.
大家好，我是 Archipapa 专涯店。今天我们很高兴来到汉阳大学访问 SON-A 建筑师事务所的宋建筑师。
大家好，我是Joohui Son. I'm architect and educator in Hanyang University. I'm also running my office, which name is SON-A. Really happy to come to my office and really honored to share my work to you guys.
Let's say the beginning of the career. Why you choose to study architecture?
I love science and I love mathematics. And at the same time, I love to make something when I was young. So I wanted to find a job that combination. So at the time, I thought that architect is something like a more like engineering part. They do have it, and also they making something. So it looks like a fancy. I wanted to do that kind of job. So I'm choosing to go to the architecture school at the time.
So any romantic part of it?
Oh, at the time, K-drama. Somehow, for some reason, all of the main character in K-drama at the time is the architect. Have you ever known the Yonsama? He's really famous in Japan. The name of the movie is No. So about the architecture or not, always the main character of that romantic story is architect. So I thought that, they must be really looking good. And then earn a lot of money because in the scene, the aura of their office is really good. Their job is always like presenting something in front of the clients, right? So I fell into that part when I was studying architecture school as a freshman. It's a totally different things, right? I always overnight every week, at least twice a week. I overnight. Always professor says something harsh words to me, but I love it. At the time, I see something, but at the time I fall in love with the architecture design. It was really fun. So since that, I stick into this field. When I studied in fifth year, which is final year of the course, I always thinking about the study abroad. At the time, most of professor in my university is a study abroad. So I thought that to become a famous architect, I have to study abroad. And I discussed a lot about that issues with the professor at the time. They recommend me to work first. So to see and to know what is the real architecture world, and also after learning the progress of the architecture is how to be realized. And then if you go to the further study, then you will learn a lot. So that's their recommendation. So I worked in the Korean Dilier office for 4 years. Wow. And then when I was studying, I decided to go to the study abroad.
So you apply for MIT. How is that going? Why is choosing States, not Japan, not Europe?
First, I believe that the economic power is also follow the economic power as well. I was deciding between the Europe and the United States. First, because of the English. I'm still not very fluent in English. And at the time, I was really serious about that. But English is more easy to learn to me. Right. So compared to the other language, English is easier. And then the architect that I like is in the United States. If they are the European architect, they are in the United States school.
Studied in Hanyang for 5 years, working for 4 years, and then after the graduate school. So let's talk about the first influence. After you graduate from university, you get to Korean architect's office, and then you start to know the real things. So how this period influence you?
First impression to me is that experience is even the tiny building is really difficult to realize. Designing is easy, right? Drawing and then rendering, the 3D model making or physical model making is easy, but in the real world, money become a real issue, code become a real issue. The real life space is totally different from the academic design. So that's what I learned from how to realize the process and how to construction then details, and also I learned from them. That office is really concerned about the neighborhood, and then they interview a lot for the people and discuss a lot with the people. Even for the tiny buildings, they research a lot the neighborhood, so that try to find there's something fitting into that village or that neighbor. So that's what I learned from.
The 4 years practical experience is really important for you. So when you apply for MIT with this, or learning with this 4 years plus of practical experience, your master degree definitely will be different from the student who just graduate, knowing nothing about the real world. Yeah. So how you compare you and the young guys who, in terms of learning?
The good thing is my drawing is always more developed one. I always concerned about assembly. I always concerned about how to be realistic drawing. And even professor told me that, your drawing is something different. That's the good things. Not bad, but worst thing is they are more brave than me. Sometimes they're more creativity. They are more brave. I learn from them a lot because they're coming from many countries that I couldn't experience before. It was really fun to know each other. Especially scale is different. My Chinese friends, he designed always gigantic things and never hesitating one. But most of my buildings when I was working for the first company is like a tiny one, like small house, small commercial buildings, a small museum. My friends never hesitating even for the 100-meter buildings. Like that's like something different. I think it's also cultural difference. I feel that.
After graduate from MIT, you went to David Adijah. So many architects to choose. Why you choose David?
First, I see some interesting part of his work. Design is something different. I didn't know that what is that before. His office work is something odd. I wanted to know why is it something looks different from the other. There is another reason. At the time, I do have my wife and tiny baby, small baby, and then they serve me to the health insurance as well. I deciding between the OMA and David Adijah. OMA is more like conceptual one. That one is more something different design and then something more regional ones. So this is more international, this is more regional. So I decided to go to the regional one. I worked there almost 3 years, and then during that I know that David Adijah, he has something different proportion. Choose a different proportion option. So his arch is something different. The angle is always something different. That's what I'm concluding from. He know much depth of the culture, African culture. It's not from just copying from their traditional building. He knows about a lot of the history and a lot of cultures, and he always mention about that. And every time he building something weird object, African object, and he explained it about the history about that. From that, he creating something odd proportion. Even for the client meeting, every time he bring some African object first, images of that, and then started why this design is come out. And what I learned from them is the importance of the proportion. The slightly different proportions, it looks totally different building.
What else did you learn from David Adijah's office?
His project is much more luxury buildings at the time. And now the situation is a little bit different, but at the time, all the black culture, he is the only one who can design that one. So every famous African-American artist or any sports star, African-American art museum, they just ask him to design. So we can test it out a lot of good details with that.
It's also kind of interesting branding for David. Yeah, right. He was educated in England.
Right? Yeah, right. He's British for now. He born in Tanzania.
And then he became a new idol. A black symbol for the American. That's interesting to see how he evolved into this position. After working with David, why you decide to come back to Korea?
When I was in the United States, I always come back to my own country. I wanted to do that because I already have experience that working in Korea and then the life in United States. I can compare to both of them, right? In Korea, I can convince many people. I could convince even the client, even if I'm not the main architect. As one of the steps, I can discuss with the client directly. But when I was in New York, most reason is my English or the cultural background. So when the client meeting starts, I cannot join in any word because of I couldn't know what they are talking or what they are laughing. Sometimes they talking about the basketball player, from their high school. I never know the stars. So they discuss about that games, and then they start to jump into the architecture discussion, and then I can start the presentation. I cannot do any common conversation, which is really important for the client meetings, right? So from that experience, I feel like I myself are getting behind. So I want to be main architect, even if it's a small ones. That's why I wanted to go back to Korea. At the time, my wife also wanted to stay in the United States, but her work is have to go back to Korea. So I get the chance to come back to Korea. At the time, in the Korean world, that licking my own finger, there's nothing to earn the money at the time. I opened in the corner of the main office. I got that one desk. I just opened my office, like hypothetically, and I just joined a lot of competition. 80% is a fail. So in Korea, if you get into the fifth prize, at least you get the money. Only one can get the chance to realize that. For 2 years only, I won 2 projects. I applied more than 20. Right. Of course, I got the prize money several times with realized the building is only 2 times. Before that, more than 8 years, I designing for someone's project. Even if it's not realized, I designing for my project, right? Yes. So that was really happy, first reason. And also I started teaching in the university as a lecturer, and not a professor. Meeting the younger student is a super interesting job to me. I never know that before. I need to get some money for my life. So I applied to the university and then start to lecture to teach the one class.
When we are doing design, the time just flies by, right? You are into it. You enjoy every moment of designing. So after this bottleneck, you win 2 competitions, and then you get a little bit famous. You start to teach at the university. Your life gets better. What's the next level you go through?
During the first winning competition project, is realized I cannot finish that project on myself. So I hire someone, and then surprisingly, that first step bring me to one project. He introduced me to another client who wanted to build a house in the west province of the Seoul. And then that's my first commissioned contract. First 2 projects that is the winning from the competition is the government project. And the government project is restricted to use any certain shape of the material. There's many restriction, but for this one, I can do whatever I want. Of course, I have to meet the budget, so I just shaped a weird house. That's the omnibus house.
Let's talk about this project. How the concept comes along.
First, that area is famous for secondary house. Normally, after their retirement, they don't want to live in the city center, and then they don't want to live in apartment. They move to the suburb area. Still, is closer to the Seoul. There is a river in front of the village, and then the really nice nature surrounding there. But this client is their main house. The couple has a first baby. For some reason, he really wanted to live in that kind of suburb area. To reach out that village, there is a famous highway. That highway always have a traffic jam. The problem is even during the weekend, if they wanted to go to the supermarket across the street, they spend 20 minutes to drive. The infra is compared to this urban area, as there's a lack of that. So not many interesting events surrounding there. So which means they have to stay in the house a lot. Most of the time they have to stay there. And then one of the requests is I wanted to be in my house, but still wanted to experience many things. How do people recognize the space, or how do people experience about the building shape? If we build an object in the land, in the center of the or side of that, if you see at once, you can guess the shape of it itself, right? But if you stand at some certain part, and then the wall is wrapped it up behind the scene, that this one is a building this material building. But if you go to the stand here, this one is building ready as this one. So I wanted to read this building by the people with the different shape from each side. If you enjoying this courtyard, then this background is your house. But if you're enjoying this courtyard, then this one is the background house. So to me, it's a different word for each courtyard. So there's 6 different words, and then I wanted to combine into the one geometry. So that's how to finish this one. So that's why I call the omnibus house. It's omnibus, like omnibus movie. There's a different story of the house is surrounding there. So first time I suggest that totally different material for each side. So this is metal, this is wood, this is another metal. And then client is always respected my design, but after seeing this, oh, I love the shape. Let's dig into the one material. So I test out the many material, and then the bricks is the quite famous surrounding that area. And also brick can make the different texture and different pattern. And also there's a diverse color. So I decided to use brick as a exterior material. I try to having a different text instead of that texture. That's what I suggested to client. So I started to make a mock-up model, different shape of that. So this is that one of the that exercise. During the design period, I made a mock-up model with the styrofoam, and then I draw the all like technical drawing. And then the construction company couldn't read that. They say their workers cannot do like what is it? They cannot understand what it is. So my team visit the site, and then we did that mock-up ourselves, teach them how to make that brick walls. And then after the construction, I asked them to get that mock-up model, and then this is that one. There's the main entrance, the parking lot. There's a 10-meter difference from this part and that part. This is a hilly side. The land is that level, so I put some main courtyard in that level in the first floor. From this one, we can reach out the entrance courtyard. Then you can come in here.
Wow, look at this.
Yeah. I mean, here you can see some kitchens and main living room. Yeah, dining and living. And then you can go out to this one. The female among the couple has a like Pilates athletic exercise. This is exercise. This is exercise courtyard. So sometimes she wanted to extend their exercise to that. So which is most private one. You can go to the second floor. In the middle of that, you can see that long secret courtyard. They can make a swimming pool. But not actually digging to the ground because they don't want to do that. They just make a temporary thing. This courtyard never seen from the outside, so I call that secret courtyard. On the second level, you can go out to this one. This one's all paved courtyard, but that one is just natural soils and grass here. So kids are playing in this area. And then after that, they can see this library. The library is a little bit sunk 1 meter level so that they can see to the river side. So from here, they can see that. And then kids room, dressing room, toilet, bathroom, and master bedroom. This is the backyard. Whenever they need another parking lot, they can do parking lot, or after they do some grocery, they can directly put it into the kitchen like that. That one is guest room. So there's another toilet. They have direct access to the outside.
The courtyard concept, let's talk about it more. Why a family like this needs 6 courtyard?
Everyday life, there's a different life event. There's a different life mood. And then whenever they have something changing that, they can enjoy the different outside. That's why just having a diverse shape of that. And mainly they wanted to have a big courtyard, and also they have some private one. So they do have a more like a public and more private one. And then I just chop it up like a little bit more diversely. And then push it a little bit more into that. So there's a certain level of the privacy and that publicity.
This courtyard concept is discussed between you and your client, or is something that you discover, or something is just your design in terms of as a solution for this project?
Actually, I suggest the diverse courtyard. The first thing is the client is asking me the courtyard is supposed to have that function and that function and that function. That's just the flat.
One courtyard for 60 different functions.
Right. Okay. So I just divide it into that characters, and then you're going to be that diverse one. And then your house will read it as a different building from the other ones. So that's what I convinced them.
You put a building in the middle, but using different outdoor space, connecting with the indoor, this kind of spatial sequence in and out become one in a way. And 6 different courtyard has 6 different lifestyle, 6 different characters, sort of enrich this building a lot.
Most of Korean living in the apartment, which is boring in terms of the architecture. But when they decide to having a single family house, they always concerned about courtyard. One courtyard, of course. So that's why the main character of the house is supposed to be, I thought that it's supposed to be courtyard.
Let's talk about this first courtyard.
Is the entrance like a Japanese courtyard. The Japanese courtyard is never used functionally. They are just to put the one trees and they put the rock on the side of that, and then decorating and then looking that enjoying. So that's that kind of one. So just to put the one trees and just looking from the entrance.
You turn the entrance from here. This is just for looking.
Yeah.
But the triangle shape makes the perspective view. We are talking about the spatial sequence. You go up and and then you sort of stretch into this very triangle, but it's such a sharp angle. The space kind of opens up in a way, the deep way, but open to the sky is what you say. And then you have to turn because this is not accessible. You turn to the indoor. So this is the first courtyard that only can be seen, not really used. The second courtyard is this one.
Yeah, right.
The experience of the second courtyard. How this really work?
So this is as a main courtyard. One of their requestions is we don't need a living room with the sofa, but dining is really important to us. So they wanted to have a giant size of the table in the indoor space. And also, even the outside wanted to have multiple spots for they're having some food. So here and here is the two of them. Here is a little bit sunken, and then looks like feeling that embracing from the ground. Here is the more like the Corbusier's mother's house courtyard. So I served these three different dining area.
That's the interesting part because there's no so-called living room. The living room is outdoor. It's this street dining place as the heart of living. So that really changed the spatial sequence. That's the kitchen. Yeah. Kitchen is center of family life. You just put it here. One where you can see the courtyard, the living space. The other, the dining area, which another living space. So your living room is dominated by this kitchen.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, both of them are cooking, especially the husband. They are even taking the cooking class, which is really famous cooking degree. His job is a totally different one, but he's kind of into that. So he always cooking, and I wanted to see everything when I was cooking. So I just let her see the outside and also the three different dining space.
It's totally different program for any architect. Your first courtyard, the second courtyard as a living room, and then transition into, let's say, the third courtyard, which you mentioned, the private, because they are using this as an exercise place. They can come here and just doing yoga to meditate. But you still have an outdoor space to connect this to very, very quiet space. What's the idea behind this?
Actually, there's another house, and then here's another house. So with that landscape, there's actually tall trees and bamboo trees are here. So everything, like sound is supposed to be dispersed and lighting is dispersed. So I wanted to make it some indirect lighting here. And then they have some extended exercise, device. In the ceiling, they have some bars so that they can extend it to here as well. So they can stretch it out in the courtyard.
After that, you come up and you have this secret courtyard for children, and also it's a pool side. So the water comes in. The interesting part is this, because of the way you do the wall, it's kind of squeezed into a very tiny space. What's the secrecy behind it?
The secret meaning, if you're looking around or walking around along the street, even from the neighborhood, they hard to know that it's a secret courtyard. They know that there is a courtyard, even if they're hard to see inside. They know that, but this one, they never know there is a courtyard or not. So that's the only for the special guests. The guest, someone who is in the main dining or main courtyard, they even never know about that place. So this place is only for the really special guest or special family member.
And then you decide to have a green space here. This is another secret place. What's the idea in this courtyard?
Like I mentioned, it's not paved, it's a soil. Because of their kids, they must have some real soil. I think that they have to, with the barefoot, they have to standing on top of it. So this place is for that. From the street, they can see each other. So maybe the kids can invite their friends or more communicate.
So this is more like a playground.
Basically.
Let's back to this more practical courtyard.
I believe that even any fancy architect, they have some dirty area. So this area is for gas tank is here, their trash bin is here, their boiler facilities is here. So every a backup house is happening here.
What's the idea behind this 6 different materials?
When I make this conceptual model, I couldn't to ask them to, I'm going to use a diverse one. Yeah. But when I do these detailed things, here I believe that's supposed to be more normal and more common, more everyone like it. So this one is a normal brick stacking one. And then here, because the light is coming from the more higher one, and then the time is more sun is a heating one. So I just wanted to make it this one. The angle is supposed to have this 45-degree angle, and so that this one is supposed to be flat. The curved one is flat, and then starting from that is this direction, and then this direction, so that it can have this kind of ones. And here is something different, that is this corner is supposed to have a punched out. So with this direction, that direction is punched out. So still, even like a curve, they have these directions details. And here, as a playground, I wanted to be more crazy. So the angle is more like this direction. So that I use this one.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, this is one brick, and then I cut it out at half, and then stacking like that. And here I use another opposite part of this guys, because it's too much hidden. I wanted to expose it some detail as well. So here as the same ones. After I designed this one, I realized that some moment I can see both of them. So it's a mixing. We can see overlap these two different details, two different materials. Each courtyard is supposed to be not seen from the other courtyard. That's why I started to extend it the wall. The architecture itself in this project is supposed to be a backdrop, the background in this courtyard. I wanted to make it embracing the area from the back, rather than having our own a nice object. It's become more embracing the outdoor space, so that it can be more not just a space. It's become the more place than as a memory for their life.
Because of this curve, the courtyard has the frontage. The courtyard has connection to the indoor and outdoors. You network the indoor and outdoor, you define different courtyard, and it becomes a very unique in itself using this curve.
I really appreciate that you mentioned about the Miss Banderas house. Actually, that's my precedent for this one. But I never talked to this one because it's Miss Banderas. So I don't want to compare to that masterpiece to my personal job. But anyway, I'm learning from them.
I think you did a good job decomposing his idea, but it's yours.
Yeah, like you mentioned, the difference of that house and my land, my puzzle is the sizes. Scale matter is a total difference. And then that one is a gigantic house. They are extending to the nature. But it's not possible to with this small land. And then it's more like a family house. So how to make it more like a warming? So that's why I just started a round shape to feeling embracing the area.
Let's talk about how you change the material from 6 different materials into one material, but with 4 different colors, 4 different texture.
Starting from the main courtyard here, I tried to make it more bright color and then make the normal, more common way to stack. I used a long brick, used a normal stacking one. And then after that, this one is the covering with these bamboo trees here. Like here, you can see the small bamboo trees here. And then here is supposed to, lighting comes from the top. This is morning time, the sun is coming. And then when they exercise it, that direction's angle is more diverse. So I make it more punched out, that detail, more shadow and more changing the pattern of that. I used a 45 degree in the edge of that, still 45, so that it's have a flat surface here like that. And then is it still if you keep the 45 degree angle, then you can coming looks like a different width that, but same angles. And then secret one comes from flat and then go to that direction. This part is the more have a texture. And then for this playground here is more diverse and then grass and soil, so that children are jumping around. So that it looks like more diverse and more dynamic angle of that with the trees on it around that. So which is this part. And then last year, the entrance one is same as a secret one with the flat with the contrast color. Here is more like a curved textures if you keep these angles.
So this is okay. So wow, it's really, you are having fun.
Yes, I was enjoying doing. Yeah.